Hello and welcome back to Film Posers for Boricuas ranting, raving, reviewing cinema, and
Yeah.
welcome back to our YouTube channel specifically. Today we are going to be discussing The Green Knight. Pause for effect.
Bless. Bless.
Directed by David Lowery. So this is an A24 release, and specifically, it is releasing this weekend. So by the time you're watching this video, it is in theaters. So go out, watch the film, and we're gonna tell you why. So if you haven't heard what The Green Knight is about, we'll tell you. So it is, of course, based on the epic poem by Anonymous, Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. It is an Arthurian poem, of course, and basically it is described as an epic fantasy adventure based on the timeless Arthurian legend, the Green Knight, which is really Sir Gawain and the Green Knight, but whatever. The
Mhm.
Green Knight tells the story of Sir Gawain, King Arthur's reckless and headstrong nephew, who embarks on a daring quest to confront the eponymous Green Knight, a gigantic emerald-skinned stranger and tester of men. So essentially, if you've seen a couple of the clips or if you've seen the trailer, it's Christmas Day and the Green Knight walks into King Arthur's court and he basically challenges the men of the court or someone willing to stand up to him and face him. And essentially, it is a Christmas Day game, which is sort of a beheading where Sir Garwin he steps up to the plate and he beheads the Green Knight. In turn, the Green Knight tells him that in 1 year he has the right to return the blow to Sir Garwin. So of course, the Green Knight is like this mystic creature, so he is a man not of the usual men. So he grabs his head all handy dandy and he's like, see you in a year. And then he leaves laughing maniacally. And Sir Garwin is like, damn.
What did I do?
Yeah. And that
Why
is
did I step
basically,
up?
yeah, that is the first few minutes. So what follows is just a lot of craziness, some stunning visuals that we haven't seen in so long, probably since Blade Runner 2049 for the cinephiles. And it's just a lot of mouth-watering cinematic marvelousness. And I'm gonna let Gabriela take it from here. So we're gonna be talking a little bit about our first reactions and letting you know whether this film is actually worth it or not.
So, if you follow us on Twitter, then you know that The Green Knight was one of our most anticipated films of 2020. And then, well, it got moved to 2021, and we kept tweeting at A24 literally every few days, release The Green Knight. And finally, they heard us and they had a release date. So, I was so excited for this film. I saw the trailer more times than I can count because, again, I took Arthurian Legends when I was in college, like Josie. So we were the crazy English majors watching that film, and like, and Sir Gawain and the Green Knight is our favorite Arthurian legend. So yes, like we were salivating at the thought of seeing this film, and I absolutely loved it. To me, it lived up to the hype. That film was exactly what I wanted it to be. There were some changes from the original text that, if you know the poem, then they can be a little frustrating, but I honestly didn't mind. There were ones that I did mind, but overall, like, I'm fine with the changes that they made because it just gave the story a lot more depth, especially the ending. We were debating about the ending because while Anna and I both loved the ending, Josie had mixed feelings on it. So it's definitely a film that is going to spark a lot of conversations in terms about what all that imagery is. Because unlike previous Arthurian retellings, that they are a lot of focused on the action, and they're translated to the screen in a way that everyone can understand. This one kind of translates the poem literally, so it's like you're watching the poem, because since it's an epic poem, there are a lot of fantastical elements that there's a lot of suspension of disbelief. And so I really like that film kept the essence of the original poem while also giving it its own unique voice. So to me, it's, it's like the perfect adaptation for an English major. If I would play this at my Arthurian Legends class in college, I would just dedicate so much time to analyzing this film and how it chose to portray not only Garwin but also King Arthur and his court, Merlin, Morgana, everyone, because it took a lot of liberty in terms of that. So I think it's such a great piece to analyze in terms of what we already know about the Arthurian legends. And yeah, I love this film. Like Josie said, it's basically Blade Runner, which, I love Blade Runner mixed with Lord of the Rings, like a fellow critic that we saw with mentioned. It's just it's exactly my vibe. It's exactly the type of film that someone will watch and say, Gabriela would like this film. And yes, that is exactly it. I got out of the movie ended and I felt like I went through something. and poor
Yeah.
Anna, and poor Anna was sitting in the middle between Josie and I, and she had me crying on one side and Josie on the other side. She's like,
Cinema.
and poor,
Cinema.
and poor Anna was sitting in the middle like,
Me, not an English major, was like, okay.
Speaking of Anna, what are your thoughts
So,
before Gabriela goes on?
so as I said, I'm not an English major, so I didn't know the source material that much. So watching it was definitely an experience. Like Galila said, this is more of a metaphor when it comes to the stories. It's not literal. So there were some scenes that when it finished, I was like, what did I just watch? Because I generally did not understood what I just saw. Especially there was this one specific story that it was about the love triangle, which I will not go into details, but it was so metaphorical that I was like, I couldn't, I didn't understand it, but I vibe with it, you know. So other than that, can I just say this? This is the definition of poetic cinema. I loved it. The cinematography was amazing. The production design, chef's kiss. It was so good. I cannot complain in the technical aspect of this film. Like the only thing that it was kind of like doubting like throughout this watching this film was the second act with the pacing. It has some pacing issues, but when the third act hit,
cinema.
it, I loved it. I love every single minute of it. Watching this film was such a journey. This is the kind of film that you should watch on theater because it's an experience. It's more of the experience than just because watching it on the computer is definitely not gonna be the same.
All I know is that this film better be in the Criterion collection in
Oh
the
yeah.
future.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It's
Oh, yeah.
it's it was such a well crafted film, and David Laurie really put his heart and soul in this film because that man did multiple tasks. He was the producer, the director, the editor,
Yeah.
sir,
And
the
also
writer.
how turns out that the original cut that was going to be released last year was
Mhm.
going to be like an hour and 30 minutes. And so due to the delay, it allowed him to like sit down and revisit this film, and he re-edited the whole thing into what we now got to watch.
Yeah, because the film now is around
Like,
2 hours and 5 minutes, more or less.
yeah.
Mhm. Which it was such a like perfect choice that he did
Mhm.
because he meticulously like nitpick. Okay, this is what we need to add, and I think it came out really perfect to the film. The story now, when it comes down to the story, I feel that this is definitely not for the general audience.
No.
No, this is a film that is for us film lovers and us that follow A24 per se. And obviously Dave Patel also has a big audience and he really
Mhm.
steals that show. He has that big spotlight. and I cannot see nobody else in this role other than him.
Yeah. For
Yeah.
me, there wasn't enough Fox. I'm sorry. I
No,
was
you're
hoping for
right.
more.
You're right.
Where's the fox? The entire time
What?
I was like, where's the fox? And the fox showed up, and I was like, there's the fox.
And then it was
There's
like,
the fox.
what does the fox
Oh
say?
my
No!
no, Gabriela, stop, stop.
But the fox was cute. There was a metaphor there which I couldn't understand because when the fox finally spoke, there were
Mhm.
no subtitles, and I was like, what are you saying?
Yeah.
So I need to rewatch it again because I definitely missed that moment. I think it was very important. I was like, well, whatever happened happened. Let's go. But other than that, I think for me, I did enjoy the film. Just I do not think it's a perfect film by any means. It lags a lot. It does have its ups and downs, and it definitely functions like a campaign. So there are certain side quests that you're wondering what exactly they contribute to the main story, and even though they were entertaining, I'm still wondering, like, there's a lot of things that are left unsaid when it comes to this film, and a lot of things that do reference the original text, but they did not have a satisfying payoff, or just some things that were left more on the symbolic side of things, but you don't really know what they're trying to say. So it's just that general thing that felt like a loose end for me more than just a stylistic choice. I will say I really like, for me, the highlight is like I was making a checklist as I was watching the film, and like the acting was good, the cinematography was stunning. The script is pretty good. I would say the script is probably one of the weakest areas of the film, but not because it's bad by any means. It's just because so many other things, like for example, the cinematography is way up here. So like the script was a little bit lower for me, but it's just because everything is almost so superb that, yeah. So it's not a bad story by any means, but it was definitely one of the weakest links of the film. And again, costume choices and everything were really good. They went very realistic with certain things, especially because Arthur's kingdom is kind of falling apart because he's growing old and growing ill. So I like that they kept that in, and they also kept it in around the end when whatever happens with Sir Garwin, because spoilers, but whatever happens with him, they kept it in and they showed what happens with Arthur's kingdom, even though, like, yeah, if you know the original like Arthurian texts, what happens is kind of, you know, everything just falls to
It's
pieces.
wild. It's
Yeah,
wild.
pure chaos. So I loved how they went with that direction, because if you are a fan of Arthurian lore and everything, they like, for the English majors, you're gonna get a kick out of it.
Oh yeah. I was vibing the entire time.
There are definitely things that were added that did add, like they added to the story in a very they usually don't go with the story. They're not part of the traditional lore, but they still felt part of it and familiar, so I did like that. But there's some things that they took creative liberty that I didn't think mended well, but overall it is a good film. And I'm, again, like as Anna said, I think this is more for, you're going to see a lot of film critics and film lovers praising this film, but unfortunately I don't think it'll stick the landing with your average moviegoer.
No, because I feel that when people say Arthurian legends, they mostly think about an action pack, kind of war film. But this is not. This is more of
Even
a
though,
cerebral film.
yeah, I like that the trailer does show you how it's gonna be. The
Mm.
trailer does not lie. It is not as action packed as you think. So if you did get that impression from the trailer, please know that this is a 2 hour even pace film, because I'm not gonna say it's slow pace, even though it does have its lulls around the way. It does have its movement. It does have its progression in terms of story. Um, but yeah, just don't go expecting, please. If you're gonna get anything from this review, is that it's a very good film. If you're into like visually pleasing cinema, this is literally the definition of poetic cinema. And just know it's more art house.
Yeah, think of it as if you're going to watch Lord of the Rings without the big battle sequences.
Yeah.
It's very character driven.
No, I was just gonna say how I like how the whole film ties up with the thing that goes with honor,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
and it really tied up in a nice present at the end of the
Yeah.
film. I liked it, and I like how even though some of the side stories that we get throughout the film, we technically don't understand it very well. Some of them go very direct, or it's more like
Hmm.
you have to think about yourself,
Yeah.
like form your own conclusions. But I really like how it like ended really well. Those last 20 minutes really pack a punch in this
Yeah.
movie.
It's a film with substance.
Yes.
But so good. Like I remember Anna and I on the car ride back home, like we were going through it.
Yeah. So again, make sure to watch it, form your own opinions, support indie films,
Yes.
support art house if you're into that, and if you're not, take a chance on the Green Knight. And yeah, if you'd actually like us, because I'm holding back on a lot, if you actually like us to do like an analysis sit down video full of spoilers, I'm ready. I'm sure Gabriela's ready. I'm
Oh
sure
yeah.
Anna's gonna
Oh
have
my god.
fun watching us with like the whiteboard and the red string. So if you're into that, we can definitely give you a Green Knight analysis video.
We can recite the original poem if you'd like us to do.
I'm gonna go very Nolan explaining Memento kind of vibe.
But yeah, that's all for this video. Again, form your own opinion, support the Green Knight, face your destiny. Yeah, if you'd like to follow us, you can find us at Film Posers on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, etc. As well, you can subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and yeah, make sure to like keep up with us because we will be coming back for the podcast around end of August, beginning of September. But yeah, remember, we're all film posers. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.